Hello, welcome to Nuclear Revenge. This one was actually posted on Pro Revenge first, but got transferred to here because apparently it was too nuclear. So, this story is kind of long. Not too long. I'll read another one. But, yeah. Basically, yeah. So, the title of this story is No Vacation, I'll Destroy You. Posted by Valure 1000. This was 2 hours ago? What? Huh? Some years ago, I was working at a relatively large company with about 400 odd employees. Whatever. 4 odd employees is whatever. I had been in the warehouse, mainly night shift, for a couple of years when one of the other staff on that day shift left to pursue other opportunities. I was offered the position. I accepted. The manager of the day shift, who we know is our Karen, of this late tale, is known as a difficult person to work for, but I try to get off the right foot of being cheerful and helpful as I can. Unfortunately, Karen takes a dislike to me. This doesn't bother me much as I ran out of F's to give many years ago and have difficulty getting worked up about office politics. I also have no particular ambition to advance in the company. Basically, I work to pay bills and finance my role-playing hobby. Every year, our town has a role-playing convention, and every year I take my vacation to coincide with it. This year was no exception, except Karen calls me to our office and say my vacation has been canceled on the Friday before I was to check into the hotel on Monday. Apparently, they were swamped, which was a whole load of BS. She simply wanted to lord her power over her employees. She had done the same thing to other employees in the past. So having managed to piss me off, I decided to go to the convention anyway. I just call in sick. Work the week after. Amazingly, the place hasn't fallen down while I was gone. I was immediately summoned by HR, where waits Karen, her boss, and her HR representative. I told her in no uncertain terms that I was going to face disciplinary action. Now, what Karen and the others did not know is that I'm a games master with 25 years of experience with improvisational role-playing. I also studied acting and improv for many years. Basically, I'm possibly the best liar you'd ever meet. So, frigid shock, I said, I didn't receive any notification from Karen that my vacation has been canceled. Karen, of course, replied that she told me verbally. She told me verbally. I sighed theatrically and said, I know what this is about. Karen is just pissed off that I rejected her. There was a pause that you could hear. There was a pause and you could hear a pin drop. Karen's mouth dropped open. I explained that I had been working in the warehouse, counting stock, when Karen approached me and started rubbing against me, telling me that I could be special and privileged if I make her happy. Said that while I was flattered at the attention, I was invariably and badly. Then I teared up a little and told boss that she became angry that I had rejected her in advances and had and had stormed off. I was asked why I didn't report it to HR and replied that I didn't want her to lose her job, and I assumed that Karen would go off while I was on vacation. Could have had a professional relationship. You would have thought that someone had tased Karen. She had nothing better than a liar. He's a filthy liar. While going red in the face and starting to scream like Harvey did. I was somewhat embarrassed, but kept my head down while she went absolutely ape. I thought in my head, I thought she was going to start throwing stuff. Eventually, the boss called her outside while the HR rep just shook her head in disbelief. We could have hear her screaming before doors were thrown, and through the windows we could see her fleeing to her car. Boss came in a minute or so later, shaking his head. Eventually, I was given written warning. I don't know what it said. I don't know what it said to Karen. But she never returned for work, and the night shift manager was put into her position. No one at work knew the truth about what happened to Karen. One of the tricks to being a good liar, to never tell anyone that you're a good liar. And eventually I left the company to pursue other interests, leaving on good terms with everybody. Although, that's... A woman who tried rape. So this is... basically, like, a boy who cried wolf, but... yeah, different. This isn't my story. It's my grandma's. She was a nurse, and I asked her what was the worst thing she'd seen happen to someone she treated. In the 80s, this woman falsely accused a black man of rape. This barely had any evidence, but still found him guilty. He was in prison for about 10 years or so. He got out early when new evidence was shocked that it wasn't him. He gets out. This dude tracked down his woman and actually raped her. Beat her up, then he then yeeted and was never caught. He just ghosted. Man, that guy's a savage. You have the nerves to do that. Oh my god. You're just... oh boy. And that much sucks for the black dude. He had like... ooh. I'm Padawan, my dad is the master. Yeah, this one's kind of long. Back in 1991, my dad bought my mom a brand new Chevy Caprice. You know, the big oldie flat as a wheel top car. It was white with fake mesh wheels and white wall tires. My mother loved it. She had it 2 weeks and kept it parked in the front of our house in SoCal. Guy across the street was a contractor back in 1991. That basically meant shady douche bag that hired illegals that stood outside Home Depot. I wonder where this is going. Shady douche started remodeling a house up the street from us on our side of the road. They were doing some structural work at the end of the day, his workers decided to just dumped leftover Structo and in the gutter and tried to hose it down the street. It got all over my mom's tires. She didn't notice, drove off, and then went all over the passenger side of her car. My dad wasn't happy, not one bit. I'm across the street to talk to the contractor neighbor. My dad is like 6'3", Air Force veteran, Vietnam Purple Heart recipient. He had fired a weapon in anger. My neighbor was a 5'4" asshole with an attitude. Oh, no. Oh boy, I want to see what happens. Dad goes over and calmly and explain the situation, actually keeping it calm. He asks the guy to have the Structo removed from the car. The neighbor tells my dad to go F himself. I'm expecting my dad to kill said neighbor. Said he says okay and walks back across the street. Has my mom's car detailed. And that's that. 7 years later, my dad and I are watching a Laker game, and it's about 10 o'clock at night, and it's halftime. My dad says, I'll be right back. He walks out of the house, goes to the garage, and gets 2 1-gallon buckets of paint. Walks across the neighbor's brand new BMW convertible. The neighbor had left the top down because it's May and the weather was nice in Southern California. So the entire outside of the BMW was now covered in paint. My dad walks back, puts the paint cans back in the garage, closes the door, comes back to watch the rest of the game. The next morning, the neighbor comes out and sees his car. We hear him saying out loud to his wife, I don't understand who would have had done this. I don't get it at all. He just forgotten all about the stucco. My dad just waited and waited. Fast forward to now. 7 years ago, an asshole down my road hit my dog and killed him, then drove off. Found his hubcap in the road next to my dog and confronted him. Oh, I thought it was a deer. I'm waiting for a really nice day. Paint is ready in my basement. Holy shit, holy ass. Holy crap. My first ever award. Thanks, I'll have to look at for the other subs for the stories. My dog, so with his work van, I must render it improbable so his business takes a hit. Oh my god. Why would you run over a dog and think it is a deer? Why would you run over a deer? That would just break your car. Why would you run over an animal? Man, that guy's stupid. I thought it was a deer. What makes it okay to still run over a deer? That gay. Well, this is gonna be the end of this video here. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe. And yeah. 10 likes and I will and I'll do more Reddit stories. Promise.